Previously on Homefront.
You provide people with jobs, good incomes, an opportunity to better themselves, and what do you get? Somebody trying to start a union.
I'm not saying I thought it through, but I joined the union.
Will you make more money or will you get fired?
I don't know.
But things don't get better unless you make them better. Life is short, make them over.
Friend, if your union keeps the coons from taking our jobs, I'll be the first to sign up.
He's not the enemy, brother.
I signed the card, and all I see is this Jew, the colored guy, and Linda. And I'm just sitting there. I'm not saying anything, but I'm thinking, this is it? This is what they're afraid of?
We'll have to hurry.
Oh, no.
Have you ever noticed how often the first word out of your mouth is no? I have. How often in the last year, in the last 10 years, have you danced a rumba? Have you danced at all?
And the grand prize, a trip to Hollywood with winners from 19 other cities for a screen test, goes to couple 17.
There must be some way to put the fear of God into these union malcontents.
But how? People nowadays take their jobs for granted. They presume their paychecks will appear as surely as the sun comes up in the morning. It's beyond my ken.
Because it's a communistic way of thinking, is what it is. The government takes away our right to fire them when we see fit. Where's Calvin Coolidge when we need him?
Thank God for Senator Taft.
People need to be reminded that employment is a privilege, not a right. Then they won't be so eager to jump on some radical bandwagon.
But where do you find employees nowadays that are actually grateful for their jobs?
I left the compote on the stove in case you want some while it's still warm.
Thank you, Gloria.
Good night.
Good night, Gloria.
Good night, Gloria.
You got to accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, and latch on to the affirmative. Don't mess with Mr. In Between. You gotta spread joy up to the maximum, bring gloom down to the minimum. Have faith or pandemonium, liable to walk upon the scene. To illustrate my last remark,
Jonah in the whale, Noah in the ark.
What did they do just when everything looked so dark? Man, they said you got to accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, and latch on to the affirmative. Don't mess with Mr. In Between. No, don't mess with Mr. In Between. No, don't mess with Mr. In Between. No, don't mess with Mr. In Between.
These people will stoop to anything to stop a union. So be ready for anything.
Everybody says the coloreds will work for less.
Well, whether it's true or not, and maybe somebody can find out, they got you looking over your shoulder. Because the message to the white workers is vote for a union, lose your job to a Negro. In Detroit, they call it strike insurance.
Is it true?
Haley, while they're busy making sure you're getting this message, they're telling these Negroes how much you hate them, and that a union will drive the colored workers out of the factory.
Is that true?
You're here, right?
Gentlemen. Henry Ford himself tried the same tactic at the River Rouge plant, and the reason it didn't work there is the same reason it won't work here, because you people are smart enough to know that a union will protect you, white or colored, from being fired for the wrong reason, from being paid less than any other man for doing the same work. Now, they're starting to play dirty, but take it as a compliment. It means they're scared. So if there's no further business, I'm off my soapbox.
Finally.
Is there any coffee?
Yes, there's a fresh pot.
I'll get it. Oh, let me give you a hand.
Be fine, thanks.
Well, I certainly enjoyed going dancing with you the other night, and I would very
We
much...
didn't go dancing,
But we danced.
but we didn't go dancing. I thought you were going to find another place for your meetings. I did ask you to.
Well, I'm here for your sake.
For my sake.
Your son doesn't want to have union meetings here, but your daughter does. So if you threw me out, you'd be siding with your son against your daughter. And that's playing favorites. Kids hate that, and I ought to know. My parents played favorites. They hated it. So I have to hold the meetings here to keep your family from falling apart. Pretty darn thoughtful of me saving your family that way.
Doesn't it look like I'm siding with Linda having you here?
No, not necessarily, because it's only a few hours, a few nights each month, and Hank has the place to himself the rest of the time for any darn thing he pleases, from cards to croquet to dancing. Now, about dancing.
It's
I was
not my
wondering if
children's decision to make. It's mine, and I don't want you to have the meetings here.
Why not? And I want to know the real reason. I want to know the truth. What is it about me that gets under your skin? You're not going to tell me?
Tell you what?
Why you don't want me here?
I don't have to justify myself to you.
No?
I don't want you to have the meetings here.
Must have been tough growing up with such a strict mother.
You can't choose your parents.
Well, Mrs. Metcalf wasn't nearly as strict as my mother. You were allowed to see King Kong. I never was.
She didn't actually give us permission. She didn't approve of us seeing it, but she knew we wanted to, so she let us visit my uncle who took us.
Your mother let you go, but she didn't give you permission.
Yes.
That was sweet of her.
In my book, it was illogical and maybe dishonest.
You don't understand her distinctions. We don't hate Hitler. We hate what he did.
Well, I hated Hitler.
Well, I did too, but I don't think I should have, because my mother is right in principle. You don't hate people. You hate evil deeds.
An entire family of hair splitters.
Oh, we believe that in my family, too, only we don't practice it.
My mother practices what she preaches. When we first got our telephone, and somebody she didn't want to talk to was on the line, she said, "Tell him I just stepped into the tub." Then she'd make us wait until she put her foot in the tub. No water, of course. So we could say, truthfully, she just stepped into the tub without lying.
It's still a lie.
No, sir. She was protecting her children from having to tell a lie. Then when we got older, she taught us to use mental reservation.
No.
Which is saying, Mom isn't in. And thinking, just thinking, not in for you.
A lie is a lie is a lie.
Well, yes, sir. My mother wouldn't lie, but she would use a mental reservation, which is not a lie, which is why it is called a mental reservation and not a lie. And I say without mental reservation, we're closed.
Good night. Or is it late evening or early morning?
No, wait. I need a professional opinion. I'm developing my look for our screen test. What do you think? What do you think?
You look like somebody.
Somebody trying to look like Joan Crawford.
Thanks a lot.
Don't ask a question if you don't want an answer.
He's sweet on your mother.
What?
He wants to date your mother.
You're crazy.
Well, you dance if you don't think so.
Hey, what's that, Sam? Starting a chapter of the NAACP?
Nah, those boys are on safari, and that's a map showing them the way home to Africa.
Don't let these jokers get under your skin, Davis.
Oh, quit playing the innocent with him, Sam. We know you're trying to use the colored against us.
I beg your pardon?
Trying to scare us away from the union by letting us think that the colored are going to take our jobs if we join. We got your number, Sam.
You do?
My drill sergeant was more subtle than you.
That's a hell of an accusation, Haley. And I'm not going to dignify it with a response, except to point out you made these men feel about as welcome as snot in a punch bowl. Oh, yeah, Davis. Starting tomorrow, you're off the drill press and over on the wheel.
Why? Me and him are working together?
We haven't found a replacement for Metcalf, and we're getting backed up.
Well, I got no problem with that, Sam.
I don't give a damn if you do or not. In fact, I expect you union boys to be a model for the rest of the factory. Solidarity forever.
Sam, I was in line for that machine.
You were under consideration, and we considered you.
Don't worry, I'm not going to fall for it.
Fall for what?
This is Sam's way of getting back at me for signing a union card.
Get back at you.
Al called it, right? Now, he's one smart Jew. We're supposed to take this as a compliment.
I'll try and keep that in mind.
I'm serious. Remember, Al said they're going to try any lousy stunt to stop the union. This is their lousy stunt. They're making me work with you because I signed a union card. Now, don't worry. Don't worry. I'll tell you right now. Don't make a hell of beans to me. It don't rub off. I don't care if I work next to you. Anyway, if I get into a fight, I want a guy who carries a razor on my side. Oh, come on. It's no secret. Everybody knows you guys carry razors. I mean, who blames you with all these idiots around here? He's touchy.
Do you think they're going to beat us by hiring those Negroes?
It didn't work in 41, and it won't work today. Especially because now we can reach all these workers at home thanks to you for spiriting out these addresses.
I didn't steal them.
I'm not going to report you.
I took them out of the trash, so you know.
They're old?
No, they're accurate. We just changed the filing system, so they threw these ones out.
You're willing to take addresses out of the trash, but not out of the files.
Taking stuff from a file is stealing.
And taking files out of the trash is not. Your family splits so many hairs, I don't see how you have time to do anything besides debate.
My family?
Yeah, your brother tried to explain to me the difference between a lie and a mental reservation, which to me just seems like a more sophisticated lie. And your mother makes a distinction between dancing, which she'll do, and going dancing, which she won't do.
Well, going dancing is very serious. It requires planning and preparation. It becomes intentional instead of accidental.
She takes dating that seriously.
Yes.
So who does she date?
She doesn't.
Why not?
Have you been on one date since Dad died?
You know the answer to that.
Well, why haven't you?
But with raising your children and getting a job, there was always too much to do. Why do you ask? And why is there an accusatory tone in your voice?
I just thought maybe Al had asked you out.
He did not.
He's been carrying on about you.
What did he say?
Sounded frustrated. Did you turn him down?
He didn't ask.
Want him to?
No.
Why not?
I don't want to date.
But why not?
Why would I is a better question.
So dating does not interest you?
I never think about it. What?
I didn't say anything.
Good morning.
You scared me. What are you doing here so early in the morning? And what are you doing?
Oh, well, I'm developing a look for my screen test. Everybody in Hollywood has a look, and this is my Veronica Lake look. What do you think?
You look like someone trying to look like Veronica Lake.
Well, fudge. You can have this. Passion flower. It'll go well with your skin. But I'll like it.
Al? Al Khan?
Well,
What concern is it of mine whether Al Khan does or does not like my makeup? Honestly, Ginger.
Let's go, Mother. We missed that 7:15.
Only half full. You've been drinking too much coffee.
Thanks. The grapevine says they're hiring colored at the Sloan's plant.
Yes, they are.
You should be proud of yourself, son.
How so?
You doing a good job opening the door for others.
They open the right door, but for the wrong people.
What a thing to say.
I mean to say they're bringing in some backwards.
Who you calling backwards, son?
These are uneducated, no account.
These are colored men, and they're getting jobs.
They give us a bad name. The country,
We were all country at one time, Robert. Who had a choice? Now, you don't want to be looking down on them the way some folks look down on you.
Grind it at an angle. What? Like this. Grind it at an angle. Goes faster, less pressure.
I don't need you to tell me how to do my job.
That's friendly advice is all. Hey, Joe. These are just some safety precautions for this machine.
Stay here in the jungle too long, Charlie, and you may start growing a tail.
Listen to that jerk. Don't worry, I don't believe that stuff. Glad to hear it. I could no more grow a tail standing next to you guys than turn your color. Anyway, it falls off when you're a baby, right? What? Your tail falls off when you're still a baby. At an angle. At an angle. Watch.
You'll be hearing from us as soon as there's an opening.
Thank you, sir. Sam, got a minute?
It's about all I got.
There's a situation on the floor.
It's not enough. We have to hold their hand and wipe their noses. We have to watch for a situation. Pray tell, what is a situation?
I'm talking about a racial situation.
And what can I do about that? Paint everybody the same color? They don't have to love each other to do their jobs.
Is this company policy, Sam?
Is what company policy?
Trying to turn the union question into a race problem.
I can't speak for your union sympathizing friends, but I certainly hope they don't turn it into a race problem. There's nothing to be gained and everything to lose. For our side, I can tell you in a nutshell what company policy is. We want workers who are grateful for the work.
So grateful they'll keep their mouth shut no matter what.
There's a workforce of native-born Americans not susceptible to agitation, such an unreasonable goal.
Make them promise to vote against the union before you hire them?
Now, there's a thought. I wonder if it's legal. And I'm wondering if you have any questions related to safety, which is, I recall, if not your area of expertise, at least your area of authority. Was there anything else?
How can you go to Hollywood with Ginger?
We get on a bus, we sit down.
You know what I mean.
No, I don't know what you mean.
When a woman travels cross-country with a man, she expects to get married.
Ginger won't expect to get married.
If she expects to keep her reputation intact, she will.
Her reputation will be fine. And if you didn't want us to go, why didn't you say something before we entered the contest?
I didn't think for a minute you'd win.
Well, thanks for the vote of confidence.
Don't change the subject.
You saw the contest rules. Men stay in one hotel, women in another. There'll be chaperones with us every minute we're in Hollywood.
But not during the bus ride.
If you're worried about her reputation, that means you don't trust your own son. Don't you trust me?
You are too clever for your own good, and it's gonna catch up with you one of these days.
You said I could use Dad's tuxedo.
Linda's Hank home?
No, not yet.
If I ask Sam to have Davis move back to the drill press, I'll make a big deal about it. I was wondering if your brother could do it for me on the QT.
Why do you want Robert moved?
We like oil and water. Don't tell him that I asked to have him transferred.
Is he doing something that bothers you?
Mr. Kahn,
Good evening, Mrs. Metcalf.
I told you in no uncertain terms to take your meetings elsewhere.
I'm sorry.
Mother, this is my responsibility.
We'll get out right now.
No, you don't have to.
Yes, he does.
Gentlemen, the meeting is adjourned. A call to order in my hotel room.
This meeting was planned a week ago. I thought you were working late and they'd be gone before you came home. But in any case, I have a right to bring guests into this house.
Not against my wishes, you do not.
Mother, I pay as much rent here as anybody who lives here. I pay as much as you do.
It's not the same. And don't you talk to me with that tone in your voice.
Tonight's meeting was extremely important because management, which includes your firstborn here, is trying to start a race riot at the plant.
Don't accuse Hank of such a thing.
I walk in the door, I get blamed for something.
You know it's true.
I know you think it's true.
So Jeff is allowed to bring his teammates by, and Hank can have his poker games, but because Hank doesn't like Al,
Let's get out of here before you get blamed for Pearl Harbor.
Hank's opinion has nothing to do with it.
Well, then what is your beef with Al?
I do not have a beef. It is my decision. The subject is closed.
Mother.
Ta-da! So what do you think of Dad's tux? Do I make it to the silver screen or not, huh? What do you think? Well, don't everybody applaud at the same time.
We'll move out. I'll get a job, and we'll move out.
You gotta get your teaching certificate now. You've gone too far.
I would rather have a place of our own.
We can stick it out here until you finish school. Don't let my sister get under your skin.
The way you don't?
Where she gets off being so self-righteous, I don't know. Now, there's a place where you can't get a job if you're not in a union, and you can't get in the union without a job, so what makes her cause so noble? There's one thing she's right about, though. They're hiring those Negroes for all the wrong reasons.
Well, what are you gonna do?
What can I do?
Hank.
Morning, sir.
Come in out of the cold.
Sir, I'm sorry to bother you so early, but there's a problem at the plant I thought we should discuss before it gets out of hand.
Well, certainly. Come right on in. We're just finishing breakfast. You can have a cup of coffee. Gloria? Ruth, look who's here.
Morning, Miss Sloan.
Good morning.
Gloria, could we have some fresh coffee? And are you hungry, Hank?
No. Thank you, sir.
Just coffee, Gloria. Sit down.
Well, sir, it's a difficult sort of thing to talk about.
My wife and I have no secrets. She is a co-owner of the plant.
Sir, ma'am, I believe there's a racial situation there due to your hiring Negroes.
Racial?
You object to Negroes in the workforce?
Thank you.
Thank you, Gloria.
Of course I don't object.
should hope not.
But I'm afraid Sam is just hiring these Negroes so that the other men will see them as a threat to their jobs.
Competition is the way our system operates. People should work hard to keep their jobs.
I agree. I agree. So the company isn't hiring these men to make the union question look like a race problem?
What a suggestion. We hire workers. They're not required to get along with each other, only to do their jobs. Those who wish to, for whatever reason, are free to leave. This is America.
Amen to that. Young man, we did not create the race problem. People have hated one another for the length of recorded history, and certainly before that.
If anyone takes advantage of it, that only makes it worse.
The human condition is the human condition, no matter what we do, and it would be presumptuous of us to think that we can change it. If sometimes the human condition presents us with unexpected opportunities, so be it. We'd be fools not to take advantage of those opportunities. We have to maintain fiscal integrity.
Was there anything else?
No.
Drop that. We're over here. Just drill holes. Need mortar right here. You're still not grinding at an angle. What? Grind at an angle. Yeah.
Hey, I'm just trying to help.
I don't need to help, peck of wood. Hands off! Send it back across the
Management's doing everything you said they're doing. They want the whites to be afraid of losing their jobs. Well, the Negroes they're hired are desperate for work, but to make sure there are no union sympathizers, they tell them if there is a union, the whites are going to get rid of the coloreds. And they're paying the Negroes 20% less than everyone else.
You know I'm going to use this.
That's why I gave it to you. If they're going to beat the union, they should beat them fair and square.
They.
On this one, they're they.
Brush, curling iron, eyebrow pencil, nail polish, nail polish. Don't you think Mr. Kahn has pretty eyes?
A woman my age doesn't notice.
Well, I could be 90 years old with one foot in the grave. I'd still notice things like that.
Ginger, are you sure you feel comfortable traveling all that way with Jeff?
Comfortable? Well, you know how long I've dreamt of going to Hollywood?
I meant comfortable traveling alone.
Well, I won't be alone. I'll be with Jeff.
I mean alone with Jeff.
Oh, Mrs. Metcalf, your son is the most gentlemanly gentleman.
I know he is. But do you think it's prudent being alone together all that time? Won't the temptation be more than it has to be?
Well, from the minute we step off the bus, there'll be a chaperone.
Hollywood chaperones.
You ready?
You bet. You don't think there are good chaperones in Hollywood?
Oh, you read as well as I do the kind of things they do out there.
Well, no matter what they're like, we'll still be Buckeyes. Don't you worry.
All right.
Wish us luck.
Oh, I'll pray the whole time you're gone. Oh, I made sandwiches for the bus.
So what look is this?
What do you mean, what look?
Who are you supposed to be now?
This is me, you ninny. Thanks, Mrs. Metcalf.
Or
Goodbye.
Are you out of your mind? Have you got sawdust for brains or what? Management is using you to get what they want. They're depending on you to react that way. They set a trap and you fell right in.
It was a very good trap, Dad, because this cracker is ignorant as they come.
Don't you know enough to hate the ignorance and not the man? Have your father and I been talking to ourselves all these years?
I cannot separate this man from his ignorance.
You have to. You're probably the first
Colored person I've ever said more than 2 words to in my whole life. And no matter what I say, he acts like I'm
insulting and stupid.
He can learn.
Learn what?
A little history, maybe. But you probably never saw a help wanted advertisement that said no Irish need apply. Or restaurant signs that said no Irish or dogs allowed. But I'll bet your money your grandmother did. For centuries, your ancestors were treated by the British the same way Negroes are treated today.
Why don't you try to concentrate on what you have in common?
We both walk upright. We both breathe air. That's about it.
No, you are both wage earners who sweat through the same 10-hour days. You're both union members.
You're both Americans. You're both veterans. Veterans? The colored soldiers were behind lines slinging hash, while me and my buddies were getting our butts shot at.
You know, the density of your brain would baffle Einstein, Charlie. Davis was at the Bulge.
I was at the Bulge. I was 4th Infantry. And there were no colored soldiers at the Bulge.
Davis was in the 761st Tank Battalion. And without them, your 4th Infantry sad sacks wouldn't have had a path to follow.
I have never heard of any colored soldiers at the Bulge.
Well, neither have 140 million other Americans, and that is because nobody ever told them.
It is not my job to educate 140 million people.
We are talking about educating one man. Being ignorant
is not your fault. Staying ignorant is.
His man of passion. I cannot help but to hear.
He comes on a little strong, if you ask me. As if everything I never knew was my fault. We were told that the coloreds only worked as cooks and in the quartermaster corps. That's what we were told.
And who told you that silly business about the tails?
I don't remember. I heard it when I was a kid. It makes you wonder what else you were told that wasn't true. Talking about silly business, Miss England, now that you mention it, you're all the time talking about the Irish. That they all drink like fish.
They do all drink like fish.
All Irish?
All the Irish I know.
I'm Irish. I better get myself a beer and prove you right.
Go on.
They say all Sicilians, they start fights, and every Siciliano I ever met, they start a fight.
Nobody starts fights like the Germans.
Germans.
The Germans.
They should all be locked up.
Disgraziati.
I hate the Germans.
Germans.
I think I can get these to the post office by midnight.
Okay. Thanks for working late.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Listen, I'm sorry if I got you in trouble with your mother.
We always fight like that.
Good. Then I'm glad it wasn't worse. Tell her I'm sorry if I inconvenienced her.
Okay.
Good night.
You're up late.
I couldn't sleep with Jeff out of the house. Where you been?
Another union meeting.
Where was that?
Al's hotel room.
Was there enough space?
No. We'll find a bigger space next time.
Linda. I'm sorry you were inconvenienced.
He said the same thing.
Sorry you were inconvenienced.
Sorry he inconvenienced you.
Tell him it's nothing. Good night, honey.
Night.
So I hear you're in the 761st.
I was.
4th Infantry.
4th Infantry. Well, I probably saved your butt.
Maybe I saved your butt.
Maybe.
You calling a truce?
Are we calling a truce?
I am. Not letting these jerks make hay off my sore knuckles. Anyways, now that we're back on the same side, you tell your union brother whether or not it's true? About you carrying a razor? Come on, I won't tell anybody else.
I'd rather keep you guessing. I'd keep you on your toes.
Hey, that's no fair.
Where you learn to handle a drill press?
You never learn, you just do.
Yeah, well, after our shift's over, I'll show you what to watch out for.
Don't need nobody showing me.
Don't need to be losing a finger, neither.
You the Davis was in the army, got all them medals?
Yeah.
You been to France?
Yeah, hell, he been all over Paris, I bet.
What's it like? I'll tell you all about it. You come to a union meeting sometime.
Oh, no,
No
I
union
heard
meeting.
about your union.
What'd you hear about the union?
Don't want us.
No place for us.
I'm there. Ain't nobody running me off. See, they taking advantage of you here.
This be taking advantage. They can do it anytime.
You never picked cotton, I bet.
No, and I hope I never do. But one thing you need to know, everybody here is making 20% more than you for the same work. For every dollar you earn, I'm earning $1.20. That's $2 a day extra every day.
They want you to think the colors will do your job for less dough.
They will. They're doing it right now.
They won't be able to pay anybody less with a union. It'll be equal pay for equal work.
What's the guarantee?
The only guarantee is without a union, they're going to keep on scrounging you. And they're going to keep on scaring you until you're willing to work for less.
You're a dupe, Haley.
One of us is. That's for sure.
I hear they fire anybody who signs a union card.
If they could have, they would have. They could fire you for stealing. They could fire you for being late. They could fire you for loafing. They could fire you for looking at them crossways. But they can't fire you for voting to join a union.
Something went wrong. 2 of the new colored employees at the plant have signed union cards.
Well, I hope you told Sam not to hire any more until you find out what went wrong.
I did, but he'd already put a half dozen more on the payroll.
I put the new comforter upstairs, and I left the pudding on the stove, just in case. So I guess I'll see you tomorrow.
You imbecile! You have nothing better to do, you miserable hooligans!
Let me see. What? Why would they think we love Negroes?
It's backfired, Ruth.
My God, they think we're progressives.
Do you think your mother and Al will eventually go out?
No, I don't think so, but I have to admit it's partly because I don't like the sound of that. Mother dating.
Oh, what's wrong with her dating?
Nothing in theory, but in practice, it's my mother. Your mother should only go out with your father.
Your father is dead.
I'm not saying my position is logical.
Hi.
Hello.
Coffee, please.
Cream and sugar?
Black. Thanks. Thanks. You heard from your son?
They called from St. Louis. They promised to call from Oklahoma City. From what I gather, you've had your hands full this weekend. I hope it hasn't been too discouraging.
Well, it bothers the daylights out of me what those bosses are doing down there at that plant. I don't know whether it's worse to be a racist or to use other people's racism to get what you want. And here I am on my soapbox again. I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. There are not enough people with convictions.
Well, that's certainly not your problem. Yours are ironclad.
You're making fun.
No, I admire your convictions. I do, the ones I understand.
I have my beliefs, but I don't speechify.
I bet your kids would disagree. I'd like to invite you out.
Don't. I'd say no.
And that's what I figured, so I thought I'd use a mental reservation. Out loud, I'd say, would you have a cup of coffee? But I'd think on a date.
You are making fun.
No, I'm hanging on by my fingernails is what I'm doing, because I don't want to offend you. I don't know how to broach the subject of dating without you saying no before the words are out of my mouth, which is exactly what I expect you will do, so I keep talking in hopes of stumbling on the right thing to say. And if I don't, at least by talking, I prevent you from saying anything, let alone no. But this only works until I run out of breath.
You are a very nice man.
Talk about damning with faint praise.
That is a compliment coming from me. Under different circumstances...
It's because I'm Jewish?
Absolutely not.
Well, don't tell me it's because you're Catholic. That amounts to the same reason.
It's because I'm not dating anybody. My life is... my life. I married the most wonderful man in the world. I raised my children. I've almost got the mortgage paid off. I have a very nice job, my church work. And if I'm lucky, I'll be a grandmother very soon. The last thing I want to worry about is what my hair looks like on a Saturday night. I'm content. Content. And the kids may not understand what content means. But I know a middle-aged man will.
I have never been content. And I don't believe you are.
I am past dating.
Well, I'm not. And I don't believe you are.